Okay, where we left off was with the front view of the skirt. I'm now going to talk you through how to do the back view. Before we do that, let me just review a couple of really important things. We've included side seams on the skirt. Okay, so the outline that I've got here, I will be referring to that as the silhouette edge. The silhouette is the very outermost line that we see. We've got side seams. We've got our front waist opening, which dips down, and our back waist, which goes straight across. Now, some people do this a little differently. They dip down in the front and they arch up in the back for a waist opening. That's not wrong. That's perfectly fine. You'll see sometimes I do it that way, okay? But we do want to make sure that the opening is visible and that the front is lower than the back. That is for a lot of reasons, but the main one is that it reflects the pattern and the shape of the garment. If you guys have done some sewing, you know that the back rise, the height of the back of a garment is higher than the front because it's got to accommodate our butt. So this should be higher than that. We should be able to see inside it. Think about if you've ever folded your jeans, you've probably noticed that the back comes up higher if you align them really nicely. Okay, so we've got our skirt. Let's just make sure it fits her nicely. And it does. If you don't fold your paper neatly, it might end up not fitting your croquis, so be careful about that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the back view. You've done all the hard work because you did the front view, okay? If you've done the front view, the back view is actually very easy. What I'll do here is I'm going to fold my tracing paper again. Okay, and I'm going to trace the silhouette edge. That's the only thing I'm tracing, just the silhouette edge. I need to make sure I stay in the frame here. Hang on, let me just make sure my camera is high enough that I'm able to capture all of this. Okay, so just the silhouette edge. Because if you think about it, this garment, if it was positioned on a tabletop or what have you, and you just very, very carefully flipped it over, you would see the same exact outline shape. Does that make sense? The outline doesn't change. The silhouette edge from the front view to the back view doesn't change. That concept is fundamental, and that concept we're going to be referring to again and again. The idea that the silhouette edge, the very outermost line of the front view, and the very outermost line of the back view, they must be identical, and that is non-negotiable. Okay, more on that to come. We'll be talking more about that later. But just know when you do your back view, the only way you can do it is if you trace your silhouette to start. Okay, and when I see people's flats on your tracing paper, the way I know you're doing it right is because I see this fold, and then I see this fold. And I know that you're doing the steps the way you should be. Okay, now that we've got the silhouette in place, all we need to do is change the details to turn the back into the front. Let's start with the yoke. I need to put my yoke across the top here, but I need to figure out where to put it. And I've already determined that because I drew it on the front. So let me just mark those spots there, and I will go ahead and put my yoke in place. Now, notice that my yoke is staying the same height that it was in the front. People make a mistake all the time. Don't do what I'm about to show you, okay? This is a mistake people make. When they draw their back yoke, they trace the bottom of the front yoke by accident. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it so you see it. But listen, if you're just sort of halfway watching this video right now, first of all, pay attention. Don't halfway watch. But if you are sort of halfway watching and you're tuning in right now, just know that what I'm doing is a big boo-boo. Do not do this. People trace that. We don't want that. That's not true to the garment. The back of the garment doesn't have a weird shaped thick yoke in back. No, the back of the garment has a yoke that stays the same thickness all the way along. So I need to start and stop at those points because that's where the yoke hit the side, but I'm going to stay the same height from the silhouette edge because that's the top of the back of the yoke. Okay, I hope that made sense. Next thing I want to do is put my center back seam in here. And it needs to run right down the center. I'm gonna just use I can kind of see my fold line through the tracing paper, so I'll go ahead and do that. If you are the kind of person who prefers to use a ruler, by all means, you could use a ruler for what I just did. I'm gonna put my blind hem stitch in place, keeping it the same distance from the edge. And now I need to put those style lines in place. So for those, they really are the same shape as the front, so I can pretty safe to trace it. Although if you want to get really nerdy here, guys, can we get a little nerdy? Let's get a little nerdy. Where it turned around and hit the silhouette, that is the exact height I need to pick up in the back, okay? So that is what I need to pick up. So let's find that spot. It's right there, and it's right there. That's what I'm going to follow to get those lines. Okay, did that make sense? Now I've done it on one side. Let me go ahead and do it on the other side. I'm going to make my life easier by just folding the back view and tracing. Excuse me. All right. We're almost done here. I want to add one nice little detail to the back of the skirt. The skirt has a vent on the bottom, okay? Now, there are different ways to show that, but I think what I'm going to show is as if this is just sort of peeled up like so, okay? Let me show you how to do it. The first thing you want to do is make sure your center back is straight. Hold on, let me fix that. There we go. Okay. Now, here's a way to do it. You ready? From the center back to the hem, let's go ahead and connect that with an angle. Okay. Erase this below. This line is now going to get a little pointy shape. You got it? And now we can go back and we can look carefully at the garment and see, okay, what actually am I looking at here? There is the self fabric, here is the lining, something like that should do the trick. Now, the reason I erased that center line is because if you look at the back vent of the skirt and you peel it open like that, this underlaps, okay? We no longer have an edge here or a seam or anything. This underlaps so that when it's closed up, you don't see any gapping. Does that make sense? So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll put that underlap right here, okay? So what we're seeing now, this little peekaboo, this little area here is actually seeing into the inside of the skirt. And since we're now seeing into the inside of the skirt, we don't have the hem. I'll erase my little dots for my blind hem stitch, but I do see a lining on the inside. If you want to be really nerdy, you can put little X's for the stitch on the other side of the blind hem stitch. Okay, am I missing anything? I don't think so. I think we're good here. Okay, so now you've got the front view and the back view of the skirt done in mechanical pencil on tracing paper. We're going to do one more garment today, and you're going to submit both of these into the assignment in Canvas with a ruler and all your details really nice and neat and correct. And I definitely want to be able to see those fold lines so that I know that you're following the steps for this, because if you do follow those steps, as we get to more complicated garments, it makes it a lot easier. Okay, I will see you guys in the next video.